Hey guys, I wanted to pop in here today because I've really been thinking about what stops a person from being successful. When I first started this business, I had such a big why that I didn't give a shit what other people thought about me. And as the years progressed, maybe about like 5 years ago when I went into burnout, I started like caring what others thought about me. All those inner thoughts started coming back like, am I enough? Am I smart enough to do this? Am I linear enough to teach? And all of those inner thoughts came from childhood trauma. One of the reasons that I went back in to do some EMDR and brain spotting 5 months ago was because I felt that those thoughts were creeping back in. And those thoughts can creep back in at different times in our life. We all are entrepreneurs, but we have, different things happen in our life on a constant basis. And sometimes it can get triggered, those old messages. So I had to be really honest with myself about where that stuff was coming from. And I knew for myself, it was a lot of self-worth issues. When I was little, I had learning issues with reading and math, and that affected grade scores, and that affected SAT scores, and that affected testing. Sorry, just a message. So I had to be really honest about where those old negative thinking was. So one thing that I wanted to talk about, and something that came up in my mastermind the other day, was talking about visibility. Because you can show up and you can post a lot of graphics, but if you're not showing up in a vulnerable state, speaking to your ideal client, they aren't going to identify with you. If you have that fear of like being you and you're trying to be somebody else in your business because you think you need to be more like your competitor, put that to the side. I was a perfectionist. I had imposter syndrome. I dealt with all those different things that I dealt with. And it was exhausting. But the one thing that I let creep back in this last year was this fear of speaking up again. So like I said, I went and did therapy around that. I have a coach as well. We work on that stuff, but it was important for me to do stuff that would allow for neuroplasticity. So if you're feeling stuck, if you're not launching your business, and I had a message with a girl who DM'd me who was like, I've launched my business, stop my business, launch my business, stop my business because I don't feel confident. You have to work on that. Get a coach, join a peer group, join Toastmasters, go to therapy for do some EMDR, brain spotting, do some different therapies that are going to get you unstuck. Because sitting there in that place where you have all this knowledge and all this talent is not going to get you past. So some strategies for that is, and I hate to curse, but it's really not giving a fuck. You have to say, I'm not going to care what other people think about me. If you follow Mel Robbins, maybe it's a let them theory for you. If you follow other people like Eric Thomas, Tony Robbins, Gabby Bernstein, whoever you identify with, you have to do those mindset push-ups. Because the only thing between somebody showing up to not showing up is that they are willing to do the hard things. And those hard things can often feel scary and they feel out of. If you have any questions about this or you want to dive deeper, send me a personal message or a DM. I'm on Instagram at Rachel A. Feldman. And you can always reach out to me on Facebook, become my friend. I would love to be in your world. I just wanted to share the truth about visibility because it's not just posting like a reel. It's actually being so vulnerable that your ideal client says, oh my God, this person's in my brain. All right, have a kick-ass day.